With the term fake news increasingly defining agenda-driven news outlets like MSNBC, CNN, and others, the man known as America's toughest sheriff is taking action to stop the lies. One America's Chanel Rion reports.
One American News spoke with Joe Arpaio and his attorney, Judicial Watch founder Larry Klayman, about the latest in their $300 million lawsuit against big media.
We brought a lawsuit against CNN, Chris Cuomo, its primetime host, Jeff Zucker, its chief executive, Rolling Stone and Huffington Post, because they branded him a felon.
Arpaio is still an 85-year-old convicted criminal.
Controversial former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, convicted felon, then pardoned.
CNN later asserted that Cuomo corrected the false statement. Klayman argues a larger, more malicious agenda was at play.
By trying to defame Sheriff Arpaio because of his strong immigration policies, because he was a supporter of President Trump, because the president supports him, they tried to destroy the sheriff to get to the president on immigration.
Renowned for being one of the first voices to sound the alarm about illegal aliens crossing our southern border, Arpaio is no stranger to leftist attacks, but says big media calling him a convicted felon was unacceptable to his legacy.
I'm not a convicted felon, and people still look at me, a convicted felon. It's a misdemeanor, a contempt of court, same type of charge on a dog biting. I've been married 61 years. I have a family. We had 3 businesses. That's hurting my businesses. I could take anything, but I think something has to be done.
In 2017, Arpaio detained people who illegally crossed the border. An Obama-era court ordered Arpaio to stop. But Arpaio insisted he was enforcing the law, and the courts found Arpaio in contempt. President Trump then pardoned Arpaio within the month. But media continued to push the false narrative that Joe Arpaio was a convicted felon. Huffington Post and Rolling Stones issued footnote corrections, but Arpaio argues it was too little, too late.
The left is vicious. They will destroy anyone that gets in their path.
Klayman and Arpaio appeared before a D.C. court where big media admitted they had lied about Sheriff Joe Arpaio, but moved to have the case thrown out on the grounds they have a right to say and print lies.
Then they say that Sheriff Arpaio is libel-proof. In other words, he's been so destroyed by them already that it doesn't really matter that they're destroying him even more with this false statement about him. It's unbelievable. It's an arrogant way of looking at things. It tells you that they think they own and rule the school, not just in the media, but generally in this country.
The Supreme Court's Times v. Sullivan ruling is justification for media to defame so-called public figures, severely limiting a public figure's right to sue. But recently, there's a push to revisit the ruling.
If there's a reckless disregard for the truth, that gets by New York Times versus Sullivan. That is actual malice. And then there's constitutional malice. That's just basically hating someone and wanting to harm them. And that factors into a consideration of actual malice.
And with a conservative Supreme Court, a revision of Times v. Sullivan may soon be in order.
We're holding a lot of these left-wing organizations accountable. The news organizations need to be truthful when they publish things.
Just days after this hearing by the D.C. court in what seemed a positive direction for Arpaio's case, a D.C. ethics panel suddenly recommended a 33-month suspension of Klayman's law license. Klayman says this is clearly an attempt to derail his efforts against powerful leftists at the top. Chanel Rion, One American News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.